3 went into the woods that night. 2 came back, and the third left a place by the fire. Not a body, a place. Sit closer now, little one, not for fear. So while the fire still burns, the count still holds. Hold now. Hold. Do not go darting about. Do not hurry your bones. Here has its own ears, and it does not love hurry. Hurry is loud. Loud goes far, even when the woods look quiet. Come closer, closer now. There. Not tight up against, just closer to the warmth. Not for fear, no, not for fear, but so the words do not scatter. Words scatter easy, like dry rot, like ash. You breathe wrong and it is already gone. And a scattered word, it starts living its own life, and that is when it brings trouble. So, sit. Do not fold yourself like a sack. Sit so the back remembers it is a back. There, that is it. Easier means quieter inside. Quieter inside, and the outside does not hook you so quick. You can feel that, feel it. Not with thoughts, no need. Just feel how the heat comes off, not like light, like weight. Warm weight. It lays on the knees, on the hands, on the eyelids. And when the eyelids get heavy, the world gets slower. That is allowed. That is good. Fire does not only warm. Fire holds, like a hand holds a child. Not soft, not pretty, just so the child does not tumble into what is waiting. Turn your palms toward it, toward the heat. Not close, no. Let the air be between. Air is alive, too. It carries warmth like an old postman, slow, stoppin'. But it comes, always comes. Hear that little crackle? Not loud, like whisperin'. Fire always whispers, only not everyone knows how to listen. Its words are not people words. They do not sit in the head. They sit lower. In bones, in sinew, in that place where a man had no tongue yet, but already knew. Here you can, here you cannot. Before you listen to the tale, little one, let it be known you are here, not to me, to the fire. Old days, that is how it was. Whoever sat by coals left a sign, a splinter, a pebble, or a name. Not the name on paper, the name you carry inside where it bites. You can do it too, not for boasting, not for show, so you yourself come clearer to your own self. Under this fire, leave a word, a dot if that is all you have. Fire remembers by words who was in the circle. It does not forget, and if it remembers you, you are not so easy to lose. There. And if you mean to stay here, not only for this night, but further on, do not go off without a tether. Not chain, no. We do it with a word. Leave a word, so the circle knows. You are ours, and ours we do not hand to the dark right off. Say one more thing, soft. You can even say it only inside. What land you are shortening the night in, and what hour has struck above your roof. It is not curiosity. It needs to be known how far this little fire reaches. Every fire has its reach, one only to the threshold, another to the path, and some do not reach even a name, though they burn. Now, notice. Just notice how from these words inside you, something maybe stopped jumping, or it did not. That is allowed too. Not all at once, not here. Here everything comes quiet-like. Woods. Many can hear the woods and still say silent, but it is not silent. It waits. Like an old dog at the doorstep, will not wag, will not look sweet, but it remembers teeth. It remembers who walked here. It remembers who thought he was master. And nowadays, people are clever looking. They carry little things with an eye, a glass eye, a little window in the palm. You look, and inside it there is other folks' light. Not sun, not fire, light with no warmth, light that does not hold, only calls. No one here knows what kind of sorcery that is. Maybe iron learned to sing here. Maybe glass learned to remember. Or maybe it is just a lure. So a man thinks, I see. He does not see, little one. He shines into his own eyes so he will not notice the dark. And now, while you're here, while the fire between us is breathing, while the words sit on your hearing like heavy wool, you are in the circle now. The circle is not a line, not chalk, not rope. The circle is when you are held and not let go. So then, before I begin, do not be afraid. This is not spoken for fear's sake. This is spoken so you do not step with your feet where others stepped already and stayed. Listen, not with the ears, with the body. Ears can lie, but the body, no. Listen. There now, little one. Sit. Don't twitch more than you must. Not for danger's sake, not now. It's because silence, it's like water. So long as you don't touch it, it lies smooth. Touch it, and it goes in rings. Me, myself, I lose a word sometimes, right on the tongue's tip, like somebody licked it clean. Not old age, no, not that. Here it goes otherwise. You might be thinking, here we sit, fire between us, the circle holding, means all settled. Not all, little one. A circle ain't a wall. It's like memory. So long as you remember, it stands. Stop remembering, and it's not there. The woods know that. The woods know plenty, more than we do. It ain't a book, ain't a map. It's like an old house with no master. Seems empty, but things keep standing where they stood, and at night steps are heard, and nobody owns up that it's them walking. Don't go thinking the woods are trees. Trees are only the face. The woods is what's between. What doesn't shine, doesn't rustle, doesn't smell. Emptiness lives too, little one. It's just quiet, quieter than we know how to listen. You've heard how people say, got lost, went missing, didn't come out. That's how they lie to themselves. Nobody gets lost there. There they choose, not the man, the place in him, what to leave and what to pull out like a splinter. Not painful, not right away, only later you're already not the same. That's why I don't love to call this to mind, 'cause these ain't fairy tales. This is reckoning. Records not in notebooks, in people. There was one here long ago, work boots, tobacco in the pocket, a habit spit aside when he's thinking. Name was... And here I don't remember, little one. Not me alone, none of us. But he was. For sure he was, 'cause there's a place left where he stopped being. So it went. He stepped out one morning. Fog lay low to the knee. Not thick, not frightening. He says, I'll take a walk. Head's heavy, need some air. And off he goes. Not to the thicket, not to the river, but there where between. We saw him go, slow, hands in pockets, walking and like getting smaller. Not in height, no, like a word you forget. First the meaning slips, then the sound, then the letters. He went into the fog, and that's that. Didn't fall, didn't cry out, just stopped being. We waited, then we looked, called, shouted. Fog went off, woods stood like always, no extra path, no branch broke, like there never was a man. We came back, and there's the strangest thing. His wife says, where is he? And we stand, don't know how to answer. Not 'cause it's scary, but because who is he? His name won't come. His face won't hold. Only a hollow feeling that someone's missing. But who? No. His things stand. Mug, jacket, boots. But the owner, no. Even the word owner feels extra. So we tell ourselves, gone is gone. It's easier for people. Call it death. Put a dot. But it wasn't death, little one. Death, that's when a body is. Here, no body, no man, no memory of him.
only a hole left, an empty place. And the worst, not even that. Worst is, after a few days, we stopped feeling even the hole. Got used to it, like it was always so. So hear me, not everyone who didn't come back died. Some just stopped being, and that's worse, 'cause the dead, they're at least remembered. But those pulled out of memory, there's nobody left to weep for 'em. You, little one, now are at the fire. That's good. Fire helps remember. So long as you're here, so long as my words sit in your hearing, so long as you don't stand up and go into that dark between, you're still whole. But the world nowadays, it got clever. It loves when folks go rest, sit in their singing iron thing, think all's at hand, light in the pocket, the road under wheels, obedient. It don't take you at once now. First, it tries, looks what can be pulled out so you won't notice. That's why I ain't hurrying my tale, 'cause if you stand now and go, I won't be able to do nothing.
Sit. Listen. Remember not the words. Remember how right now you don't want to go anywhere. With that very same warmth it all begins. First the fire, then the road, then, we'll make it. And after that it ain't you no more who decides where the yard ends and that between begins.
Now listen. Listen then. Not about that fog. Not about that little hole where a memory ought to sit. About the living. About the young. Two of them. Pavel and Nina. Good ones. Lively. The kind that laugh loud, then startle at their own laugh, how it runs off into the trees and does not come back. Tired they were, little ones, of people noise, of closeness, of walls pressing the shoulders, of other folks' eyes. They said, "We'll go rest." From yourself, you do not rest. You only step aside a moment, and then you meet yourself again in the dark. They packed toward evening, not early, so after work, not late, so they'd still find a place. They sat into their singing iron thing, the one that rolls by itself, hums by itself, chews the road by itself. Pavel gripped the round handle, 2 hands, like that round thing was his whole rule over the world. Nina beside him, warm jacket, knees tucked, and that drink keeper, iron, with a bit of warm inside, like a little stove with no fire. At first, simple. Road smooth, lights even, people few. Nina says, "Can you imagine? It'll be quiet, real quiet." And Pavel laughs. "I'll sleep like I'm dead." Good words, light words.
Only the woods, it listens to such words the closest. They drive. Windows get darker. The light along the roadside thins out, and the farther, the quieter it gets inside that iron thing. Sound like it's drowning, like a spoon in thick porridge. Pavel turns up the voice in his glass thing, so some other voice would sing, so it wouldn't feel so empty. But the glass thing, it don't sing. It hisses. One hiss, then another, and then silence. Not the nice kind. The kind like somebody laid a palm over the whole world. Nina's the first to feel it. She says, quiet, "You hear?" And Pavel, he hears. Not a sound. The absence of sound. Like the world took a breath and is holding it. Nina's mouth goes dry all at once, like she been chewing cotton the whole way. And Pavel's shoulders, all by themselves, crawl up to his ears like from cold. He wanted to joke, and it did not go. The joke in his throat turned to a lump, dry. They keep driving, and then a small thing. The turn Pavel was waiting for does not come. He keeps driving, thinking now, but now does not happen. The road stretches, gets longer than it ought. Nina looks out the window long and says, "These trees are all the same." Pavel mutters, "In the woods, all trees are the same." And himself, he suddenly knows she is right. Same, like a fence. Same height, same step, like somebody didn't grow 'em, but set 'em up. And one more thing, the lamps. There were lamps at the last fork, yellow, weak, and now none. And the dark around them is not night dark, it is sticky, like somebody smeared black pitch right on the glass. Nina puts her palm to the window, pulls it back. "Cold," she says, "like ice." Pavel nods, even though glass is always cold. But this cold, it wasn't from the glass. It was like from outside, something pressed up to them, slow, heavy.
Pavel pokes again at his glass thing, wants it to show the road, and it shows a circle, just a circle, like they're standing, but they are driving. Pavel blinks. The circle does not go away. Nina whispers, "Posh." He answers, "Yeah," and in his head, "Say something else, say anything." And he does not, because in that moment, on the edge of the road, a light flickered. Not a lamp, not a window, light like a little sun with no warmth. One, then a second, both right at eye level. For a heartbeat they reflected in the panel glass, thin like 2 drops of mercury. Nina pressed into the seat. Pavel squeezed the round handle so hard his knuckles went white. The lights were gone, and right away the glass thing in the iron thing beeped, short, like somebody knocked, not with a finger, with a nail, from inside. Pavel looks. On the glass, not a map, a word, 1 word, short, like a name, only not theirs.
Here, little ones, this is where it was needed. Not to think, to stop, not to argue, not to joke, to turn around and quiet like home. And they did not turn around. They drove a little more, and then the road, just like that, no warning, ended. Not with a cliff, not with a pit. It just stopped being a road. Gravel, clay, bumps. Pavel swore, soft, not from spite, no, so his own inside would sit down. Nothing, he said. There ought to be a place here, somewhere. And there was. A clearing. Small, round, like it was scooped out with a spoon from the body of the woods. Grass pressed down, old fire scars, a ring of stones. Here, Pavel said. Perfect. Nina nodded. Didn't say a word, though inside her something still would not let go. That's how folks are made. Till trouble hasn't bitten yet, they reckon it ain't there. They stepped out, and right away, silence hit. Not quiet, like the air stood up as a wall. Nina shivered. Listen, she said. It's strange here. Pavel slammed the door of the iron thing, a little louder than needed. The sound went out and did not come back, like the woods swallowed it. "Oh, come on," Pavel said. "It's beautiful." He always said that when he felt bad. They pulled out their things, the cloth hut, the pot, the firewood they brought, 'cause Pavel didn't love to go poking through the woods for dead sticks. He stacked the fire, sure, like a man, like if you do it right, the world around will stand right too. He clicked his fire thing, once, again, and only the 3rd time it went. The flame didn't stand up straight at first. Smoke bent sideways, not where it should. A spark dropped in the grass. Pavel stamped it out with his heel, like he was crushing a thought. And then the fire caught proper, pretty, even. Nina breathed out. "There," she said, "that's better." Fire always does that, acts like it listens. Pavel squatted, held his hands to it, warmed them, smiled. "You see," he said, "all is normal." Nina sat beside him, held her palms out too. The warmth was real, good, only it went the wrong way, not into the chest, but like into the bones, deep,
through, and the woods around, they did not glow.
Did not throw the fire back. They soaked it up like a black rag, and the silence turned different, not empty, but watchin', like somebody leaned in closer and is listening to how they breathe. Nina whispered, "Posh." "Yeah?" he answered. "You hear?" Pavel listened. There was something, not a sound, a pause between sounds, too even, too long, like the world forgot when it's time to move. Pavel coughed, loud, testin'. The sound went out, and again did not come back. Come on," he muttered. "We just got nervous." He tossed a log into the fire. The fire jumped, and for one breath lit up the trees, and all of them were standing face on to the clearing, not by lean, not by wind, but like people. Nina's chest pinched tight a moment, like somebody with a strange hand pressed a rib from the inside. She blinked, and all was like usual. "You see that?" she asked. "What?" Nothing," she lied. "Just seemed like it." They ate from the pot, silent. The food had no taste, like somebody switched the tongue off. Pavel reached in his pocket for his glass thing, looked at it. "Strange," he said. "No hold on the line." "There isn't supposed to be," Nina answered, but he still turned its screen up, like it could see something. The screen was black, only right in the middle, for 1 second, a little light flickered. Not a sign, not a battery, a dot, small, like a pupil. Pavel shoved the glass thing back into his pocket, sharp, like it bit him. "Let's go sleep," he said. "Gotta get up early tomorrow." Nina nodded, but didn't move, because in that moment the fire clicked just a little, not like wood, but like a joint, and in that silence it sounded too loud. Here, little ones, the fire was already not theirs. It was already listening, not to their breath. It had become a guest, and the woods just sat around and waited till it was called, and the woods heard that.
Yeah, that's how night comes, little ones. Not with a clap, not with darkness all at once, but like water under a door, quiet, till you do not notice your feet are already wet. They lay down in their cloth hut, warm from the fire, smelling of smoke. Nina did not fall asleep. She lay on her back, hands on her belly, and felt how the warmth inside does not spread, like somebody left a palm there. Pavel, beside her, snuffled, not snoring, not from drink, just like a man who is tired and thinks all is under control. Nina closed her eyes.
Once, twice, and suddenly she knew somebody is standing over her, not walking, not breathing, just there, like a cupboard, like a thought you cannot chase out. The fire did not go out. It did not die the way it should. It smoldered, not red, not orange, but that color you have inside your eyes when you stare into dark too long. And it crackled, not like wood, but like old joints of grandfathers in the cold. Quiet, dry.
Nina squeezed her eyes shut, told herself, "Sleep. You got nervous. Tomorrow you'll laugh." And she almost slept. Almost. And here, something passed. Not close, not far. Right along the edge of the light. Not a step, but a shift, like the dark set down more comfortable. Nina sucked in air sharp. The air was cold and smelled old, like in a cellar where nobody been for a long time. She whispered, "Posh." He moved. He mumbled. "You hear?" He went quiet, listened. Both of them. And in that silence, it got clear. Somebody is listening too. Not to them, to the fire, to the crackle, to the rustle of the blanket. "There's nothing," Pavel said, too fast, too loud, like a man who lies to himself out loud. And then something clicked. Quiet, like a nail on stone. One time, Pavel sat up sharp. "Who's there?" he said, and right away he knew that was a mistake, because after his voice, the air got thicker, like before a storm. Here, little ones, the main thing is not to call out, because who calls out, that one gets counted. A step, one, not toward them, not away from them, but in an arc, right along the edge of the light, slow, heavy, like the foot does not lift but drags. Pavel squeezed Nina's hand so hard it hurt her. She did not pull away, because pain, that is good. Pain means you are still here. Second step, a little closer, and then they understood the worst thing. The steps did not break branches, did not rustle grass. The grass did not bend, the ground did not answer, like the foot weighed nothing. Third step, and the pause between steps got shorter, like somebody is learning their rhythm. Pavel whispered, "It's a beast." Nina slowly shook her head, because a beast breathes, and this did not breathe. And here, time went crooked. Not stopped, but really went crooked. Like a cart with no wheel. Step, pause, step. And between pauses, too many thoughts had time to rush through. Nina suddenly knew she does not feel her legs, like somebody switched them off from below. and Pavel knew he cannot swallow. The spit in his mouth got thick like pitch. The steps stopped right in front of the entrance to their cloth hut, and the silence became so thick the ears started to ache. Nina clamped her mouth with her palm because she suddenly knew if she sobs now, it will come in. And then somebody bent down to the fire, not to them, and the flame shivered, not from wind, but like from breath, hot, too hot. Pavel saw not a shape, but a hole in the light, like somebody took a piece out of the fire, and in that hole something was moving, slow, not in a body way, like the light itself was going the wrong way.
Nina squeezed her eyes shut, hard. And suddenly she heard not steps, but a whisper. Not words, but like when water is poured through a sieve. Many, many quiet, unclear sounds, like somebody is picking through other folks' names. Pavel jerked. "Nina," he breathed out. "It." She grabbed him by the sleeve. "Quiet," she said. "Quiet, quiet." And she herself did not know where those words came from. She just knew. A step, right at the entrance. So close the cloth of the hut pressed in a little, like from a palm. Only the palm was cold. And in that moment Pavel knew the fire is no longer between them and it. The fire is between them and the way out. The way out got darker than the way in, like somebody swapped places of the sides. Here, little ones, the real night begins. Because while it has not come in yet, you still have a choice. And when it comes in, you will be left with only memory, if they leave it. And more often, not even you.
Here now, little ones, this is where it does not start with fear. It starts with staying alive. Because when it is close, you're scared. But when it stands and does not come in, then you begin to break. They sat without a word, long, so long Nina's shoulders went numb, but she was afraid to move them, because the cloth of that little hut was still pressed in just a bit, like from a palm, only the palm did not move now. Pavel breathed every other time. He did not know what he was doing, whether he was listening or waiting or pretending to be dead. Time spread out like porridge on a table, slow, sticky, with no shape to it. Sometimes the fire gave a quiet crack, not like wood, but like as if inside it somebody turned over to the other side. Nina shut her eyes, opened,
shut again, and understood she could not remember how long they'd been sitting. A minute, an hour, a whole night, it was all the same. She whispered, "Pash!" He did not answer. She touched his sleeve, warm, alive. "Pash!" she said again. He flinched. "Huh? You remember how we came here?" He went still, long, too long. "Well," he said, we drove. And from where?" He frowned like a man searching his pocket for something that was always there. He started and stopped, and that stopping was worse than footsteps.
And then Pavel said, sudden-like, "Listen." Nina flinched. "What?" He looked toward the fire. Did we have a second mug?" Nina blinked, looked down. One mug, and the little pot, and that was all. "We did," she said, certain, though she did not know where that certainty came from. Pavel nodded. "That's what I think too." And both of them understood. Somebody already started counting their things as its own. Nina kept slipping into drowsing off, then floating back out, and each time it seemed to her that something had gone wrong. Now the fire a little lower, now the shadow a little longer, now Pavel sitting a little farther off than he was a moment ago. A few times she caught herself wanting to call him by name, and every time her tongue as if hit something hard, like bone. The name would not come, and that felt right. Why, she did not know, but she knew if she says it, something will break forever. Here now, little ones, this is where names got to be hid, because a name, it is not a word. A name, it is a handle on a door. The night did not end. It only lay on top, like a wet blanket. And Nina, she up and started crying. Quiet, no sound. Tears ran by themselves, like water from a cracked cup. Pavel did not notice. He stared into the fire and moved his lips, like he was counting, or praying, or trying not to forget something important. And then the fire began to pale, not brighter, but paler, like a sick man's face. Nina blinked and suddenly understood. The sky above the trees had turned just a little not black, not gray, but some kind of empty, colorless, like an old bone ship after the earth. "Posh," she whispered, "light." He lifted his head, looked up a long time. "Is that morning?" he said, uncertain, like a man afraid to jinx it. And, strange thing, for a moment it got easier for both of them to breathe, like a palm was taken off the throat, like the woods let go its tightest rope.
The fire crackled again like proper wood, and the smoke went up as it should, not sideways, not along the ground, up. Pavel breathed out and even almost smiled. "Well now," he whispered, "went past us." Nina nodded and believed it too, for 1 second.
And exactly in that second, she heard nothing. Just like that, nothing. A kind of nothing, like somebody pulled the noise out of the world. No bird, no wind, no far-off rustle, only their breath. And in that breath, she suddenly felt nearby there was not enough of something else. Not a thing, not a person, but a place. As if somebody had been sitting there, long, quiet, and stood up. And the air where the third had been suddenly grew colder, like if a slab was lifted out of the earth. Nina looked down by the fire and saw a mark. Not a boot, not a paw, a pressed-in place, like from sitting, like from a heavy body kept in one spot a long time, and now it is gone, but the place remembers. Then Pavel suddenly said, "Listen." She flinched. "What?" He looked at her, long, and in his eyes there was something empty. Not fear, not anger, emptiness like after sickness. "And us, how many are we?" Nina opened her mouth and understood she did not know what to answer, because the number would not come like the name.
She lowered her eyes by habit to her hands. 1, 2, counted fingers. 5, 10. And after that, in her head, empty, like a wall. She tried to say, "2 of us," and her tongue would not turn. The word would not hold. She lifted her eyes to the fire and saw 3 shadows. 1, hers, 1, Pavel's, and the third was not from anybody. It stood where the light was already weak, where the woods begin. And when Nina blinked, the third shadow did not disappear. It only shifted half a step, like it was cramped. Nina did not cry out, could not. Her throat went dry. Only her lips moved, no sound. And Pavel, not taking his eyes off her face, quietly said, "Well, then not all." And in that little phrase there was more horror than in the night steps. That's how, little ones, they live till light. Not all, and almost never whole.
And mourning, little ones, it don't heal. No. Mourning only shows you what exactly got broke in you. Shows it plain, so you can't pretend.
They sat a little more, 'cause getting up was scary. Like if you stand, something will finally, for good, come off. The fire was dying down. Not scary now, just fire. Red coals, gray ash. Smoke went straight up, like it should, like it remembers how to. A bird somewhere chirped, one, and that made it worse. Pavel was first to rise, slow, like an old man, even though he was young. "Let's go," he said, not firm, like he was asking. Nina nodded. She did not look at the ground where the dent had been. She acted like it ain't there. They packed their things. No hurry, like folks afraid to forget something. But they forgot. They did not take one of the mugs, 'cause they saw only one, and that felt normal. The road showed up fast. Too fast. It was not where they left it, but they did not talk on it, 'cause if you don't say, maybe it ain't true. Pavel walked in front, Nina behind him, and she had that strange feeling that between them there ought to be one more place, like somebody always walked third, but now just fell behind. They came out to the river, to where in the evening they crossed on a little log. The river was there, wide, slow, but the little log was not, at all. Not broken, not carried off, like it was never laid. Pavel frowned. We did hear. He stopped, 'cause he couldn't finish the thought. And Nina suddenly knew she could not remember which bank they slept on, and that was too much. Here, little ones, is where you understand. The woods don't chase. The woods just stops helpin'. They went along the river. Long, too long for such a small woods. The river bent, turned, but always not the way they needed. The sun climbed, burned, then sudden hid behind clouds, like somebody was playing with the light. Nina got tired, sat down on a stone. We were going somewhere, she said. Pavel looked at her long. Where? She opened her mouth and knew she did not know. They met an old man, a real one, with a beard, with a stick, with buckets. He was coming toward them like he knew they'd be here. "Hello," Pavel said. The old man nodded. "And to you, no illness." His voice was ordinary, village, warm. Nina felt all at once her legs go weak, 'cause the old man smelled like home.
You wouldn't tell us, Pavel started, how we... The old man looked at them, first at Pavel, then at Nina, then at the empty place between them, and frowned.
"You are not all," he said, quiet, like to himself. Pavel swallowed. "What?" The old man shook his head. "Nothing. Just seemed like it." He waved his stick to the side. "Go that way. You'll come out to the road." Pavel nodded. "Thank you." The old man already went past, but then he stopped, turned. "And you," he said, "you didn't drop your names on the way." Nina felt her sight go dark. "No," Pavel lied. "We didn't drop 'em." The old man stared a long time, then slow spat into the dust. "Well, you watch yourselves," and went on. They were silent a long time, till they came out to the asphalt, to that black, even strip, like a wound on the body of the earth. Nina suddenly started crying, loud, with voice. Pavel hugged her, and they stood like that, two, and that was too noticeable. That's how, little ones, the woods lets go. Not with a kick, not with a curse, but a little crooked. So you'll feel your whole life something ain't there.
Pavel reached into his pocket for his glass thing, looked. The screen was clean, worked like it should. No dots, no strange signs. He was about to put it away, and then it shivered, quiet like a mosquito under glass. An incoming call. The name on the screen was there. Short, simple, the kind people have. Nina leaned closer. "Who's that?" Pavel looked and could not read it, 'cause the letters were familiar, but the word was not. I don't know," he said, and that was clean truth. Nina suddenly said, "Pash." He looked at her. "You noticed that we cannot remember." She stopped, 'cause she could not finish the thought. "What?" he asked. "The name," she swallowed, "of the one who was with us." Pavel closed his eyes, slow, opened. "I don't even understand which of us noticed it first." Nina nodded. "Me neither." They stood, silent, and the phone in Pavel's hand was still quietly shivering.
That's how, little ones, they come back. Alive, whole, almost. And mourning, little ones, it does not heal. It only turns the light on, and all that in the night broke stays broken. Only now you see it. Pavel woke first, not because he slept, but because it felt like somebody
took off him a heavy quilt from inside his chest. He sat up. Under his feet the grass was wet, cold, not morning cold, cellar cold. The sun was already there, low, dull, like it too got chewed in the night. Nina lay, eyes open, staring up at the rag roof of their hut. "Is this morning?" she asked, quiet. He nodded, though he himself was not sure. The under-cellar stink was gone, and the fire was again just a fire, red coals, gray ash. And right there, little ones, both of them for 1 second thought, well, it passed.
Pavel even smirked, dry, crooked. "Listen, if we ever go to the woods again, let's go only to a normal one." Nina snorted, weak. "Let's not go anywhere at all." They sat, kept quiet, and that made it worse. Because when everything is ordinary again, you suddenly notice the unordinary in yourself. Nina suddenly rubbed her brow. "Pash? Huh? How did we get here?" He frowned. "Well, we drove. And from where?" He opened his mouth and closed it. From... The word would not come, like the tongue hit a soft wall inside the mouth. "Strange," he said, and even that word sounded wrong. They started packing.
The tent folded itself easy, too easy, like it got more roomy. Nina took 2 mugs, stopped, and we had a second mug. Pavel looked at her hands, then both looked down. The place by the fire was a shade darker, like a shadow lay there longer. Seemed like it, Pavel said, but he said it too quick. They went to the iron. The path was not... The tent folded itself easy, too easy, like it got more roomy. Nina took 2 mugs, stopped, and we had a second mug. Pavel looked at her hands, then both looked down. The place by the fire was a shade darker, like a shadow lay there longer. Seemed like it, Pavel said, but he said it too quick. They went to the iron. The path was not there. I mean, it was there, only like it was shifted a little, half a meter, not the way it ought to be. Pavel stopped. "Listen, we sure walked this one?" Nina shrugged. "Which other one?" He did not answer. Inside the iron, it smelled like inside the iron. That should have calmed them. Did not. They drove out.
The river showed up from the wrong side too soon, and it ran not that way. Did it turn around?
Nina said. Pavel kept quiet. At the bend stood an old man, thin, dry, in a jacket older than him. He did not wave, did not ask, just stood and watched. Pavel stopped. "Where you headed, Granddad?" The old man came closer. His eyes were like the eyes of them who long ago stopped counting anyone. He looked between Pavel and Nina, long. "You ain't all," he said. Nina flinched. "What?" The old man did not repeat. He leaned a little forward. "Names, you didn't drop 'em?" Pavel opened his mouth, closed it. The old man straightened. "Well, then, not everything." And he went along the road, not looking back. They sat in the iron another minute, maybe two. Nina suddenly said, "And us, how many?" Pavel looked at her, wanted to answer, and could not right away, because the count inside his head went crooked. Like between 1 and 2 a hole appeared. He blinked. 2, he said at last, and he himself did not believe that word. In the city, everything was too normal. People walked, wagons rolled, dogs pulled their masters. They smiled at them, they smiled back, and every time that smile came late by half a second, like it did not come from them. At night, they woke up together, and both in the same second understood somebody's missin', but who they did not know. One day, Nina laid the table, put down 3 plates, froze, took one away, sat, cried quiet, no tears. "I put my hands in the wrong place again," she said. Pavel hugged her, and understood he hugged a little off, like between them there is a place that is not. That evening the plate cracked, thin, even, like a scar on white skin. Pavel's little window lay on the table, did not call, did not shiver, just suddenly lit up, its face incoming, and under that word, empty, no name, no number, an empty line. Pavel and Nina looked. The face went dark by itself. They did not say a single word. That's how it is, little ones. Not when they eat you, but when they wipe you, bit by bit. First out of the woods, then out of memory, then out of words, then out of names. A name, it ain't a word. A name, it's the handle on the door. So long as it's there, you can come back. And when they've unscrewed it, well, then you're kinda here and kinda not. And if one day, sometime, you wake up and understand somebody's missing, don't call, don't search, and most of all, don't go trying to remember the name. Because if you remember, that means the door already got cracked open. And farther on, little one, farther on, the count does not add up.